This conference will now be recorded.
Can you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Mr. Adams, would you like to go over the roll call? I guess we need to do the roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
I know it's 3 months and we're rusty.
Oh.
All right. Trevor Dombach.
Here.
Tim Dugan.
Here.
Todd Farringer.
Here.
Ryan Height.
Here.
Diane Kelly.
Here.
Mark Luth.
Here.
David Wilson.
Here.
7 members present, sufficient for a quorum.
I would also like to note Dave Manhart, Director of Community Development, Laura Harrier, Zoning Officer, Greg Adams, Planner, Tony Talarita from the Pitcock Company, Township Engineer, Joe Zader from Zader Law, Township Solicitor are also here, and Leo DeVito from Brockle and DeVito, an alternate Township Solicitor, is here, and Jason Swire, alternate Township Engineer from Keystone Consulting, is here. All right, Mr. Adams, can you go over the meeting rules?
Yes. For an orderly meeting wherein all attendees may be fully able to participate, we ask that you adhere to the following rules. Please mute your microphone or telephone to avoid background noise that may cause interference in the meeting and make it difficult for others to hear. Staff may mute the microphones of remote attendees if needed. Public questions and comments will be taken at periodic intervals throughout the agenda. We will start with no time limits, but the Planning Commission Chairman may impose a time limitation if there are many questions or if the meeting is running short on time. For in-person attendees, please raise your hand to be recognized, then move to the podium when directed and state your name, address, and comment or question. Please turn the podium microphone on before speaking and off when done. For remote attendees, the chat box feature will be active throughout the meeting. If you have a comment or question, please type your full name and address in the chat box, which is the speech balloon icon somewhere on the screen. When you are recognized and so directed, please unmute your microphone and state your comment or question. Mute your microphone when done. For those who are accessing the meeting by phone only, staff will periodically ask for caller comments and unmute any callers. Callers must identify their name and address prior to making a comment. Your cooperation and adherence to these rules will ensure an orderly and respectful meeting. Thank you.
Oh, and before we get farther into the meeting, I just want to make sure everyone knows agenda item 4D, which is Ridge Farm Final Plan Phase 1B. That's been removed from the agenda per the applicant's request. I know a lot of people sometimes come to the meetings for that, so just wanted to let everyone know beforehand that they're not on the agenda and we won't be discussing that project tonight. All right, so right now we're on agenda item number 3, approval of minutes. Does anyone have any comments?
I just want to note that the secretary is not Mark Luth. Other than that, I had nothing.
Someone want to?
I'll make a motion to
I'll
approve.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I'll be abstaining.
All right, minutes approved. All right, we're on agenda item number 4, subdivision review. Item A, Joseph N. Haley Zimring. Could a representative for the applicant please come forward and state your name?
My name is Brad Rock. I'm with Lehigh Engineering. I'll be representing this plan.
Oh, I apologize. I'm a little rusty. It's been a few months since our last meeting, but Greg, can you do the staff presentation?
Absolutely. This is an application to consolidate the properties located at 1862 Stone Tavern Boulevard, 1884 Stone Tavern Boulevard, and 1900 Penn's Crossing. The plan proposes to consolidate the three lots into one 79,777 square foot lot containing 533 linear feet of frontage along Penn's Crossing and Stone Tavern Boulevard. The parcel is served by public water and sewer and is zoned low density residential R2. Joseph and Haley Zimring are the owners and applicants. The previous consideration is that these lots were created with the Hills at Winchester Major Plan 2011-103, which was recorded on September 1st, 2017. The recommendation of the Town Community Development Department. The department recommends that the Planning Commission recommend preliminary final plan approval to the Board of Commissioners, subject to the applicant complying with the following conditions. 1, if deemed to be necessary, the applicant shall execute subdivision improvement, security, maintenance, and indemnification agreements acceptable to the township and its solicitor, that sufficient security in a form acceptable to the township be posted, that such security shall be available for withdrawals presentation no further than 60 miles from the township's office, and evidence of insurance coverage in the amount satisfactory to the township in its sole discretion shall be provided prior to the plan being recorded. 2, that the applicant address to the satisfaction township engineer the comments of Mr. Anthony Talarita as contained in his review letter dated August 9th, 2023. The applicant shall provide to the Community Development Department written confirmation that the appropriate reviewing agency, that all applicable comments have been addressed. 3, the applicant addressed the satisfaction township water and sewer engineer the comments of Mr. Jason Newhart as contained in his review dated August 10th, 2023. 4, that the applicant addressed to the satisfaction of the Community Development Department the comments of Mr. Greg Adams as contained in his review dated August 10th, 2023. 5, that the applicant addressed to the satisfaction of the Public Works Department the comments of Mr. Herb Bender as contained in his review dated August 11th, 2023. 6, that the applicant coordinates with the Township Engineer's Office to have an address signed to the record plan. 7, that if deemed to be necessary, the applicant shall execute a declaration of covenants and easements for the maintenance of stormwater management facilities prepared by the township solicitor for the maintenance of the on-site stormwater management facilities. And 8, that the plans are to be revised and deemed to be clean prior to them being presented to the Board of Commissioners. The Planning Commission's soft deadline to act on the plan is September 18th, 2023. The Board of Commissioners' hard deadline to act on the plan is October 18th, 2023.
Well done. I would just, unless anybody has any specific concerns about this comment letter, I would just like to go over a few things that jumped out at me that I just, would like to talk to Anthony about and bring up in front of the board. Number 3, the location of significant man-made features within 100 feet of the property. I was just questioning across Tavern Boulevard. The building structures across Tavern Boulevard are at like 98 to 99 feet. And instead of expanding the size of the sheet of the plan or changing the scale of the plan, I just wanted to kind of get your feel on, is that really necessary across just to capture that little smidge? I can show the drive where the driveways would.
The ordinance reads as 100 feet.
Okay.
I can't tell you exactly where you're at, if
Okay.
a waiver is requested, since this is only a lot consolidation, we could support that for number 3 and number 4. So it's up to the planning commission if they choose to see the extra foot or two or whatever the dimension is, or if they choose to give you a waiver.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I believe our understanding was you would be requesting waivers for
For number
number
4.
3 and 4.
Well, number 3, I just showed the adjacent properties that touch
Mhm.
the client's property. And I have located the driveways across the street. I just figured I'd bring it up. I didn't really know if it was going to be necessary for a waiver for something that you're not going to notice on the plan anyway.
Yeah, it is a saldo requirement, so a waiver would be required.
Okay, that's fine.
I believe there isn't any engineering objection
Okay.
to those saldo requirements.
I did bring a waiver for number 4 with me. I didn't know, it's my first time in this room. I didn't know if bringing a waiver on, during the meeting would be acceptable in front of the board. I could submit it with my comment letter revision.
In my opinion, these are minor waiver requests. It's for anyone in the audience. When we have larger projects, we sometimes want to see the existing features of the surrounding neighborhood because we may want sidewalk connections to adjacent areas. So we ask the engineers to show all the existing features within 400 feet of the plans, and then elevations of features 100 feet within the plans. This, in my opinion, and I only speak for myself, is relatively minor lot line adjustment for an individual homeowner. This is not a major subdivision or a land development. It's for a single resident. I don't see any necessary requirement, any reason why we would need to show anything 400 feet from this homeowner's property. I don't believe there was any engineering objection. I don't know if anyone else has any comments. I'm comfortable with making a vote.
My waiver for number 4 was to just show within that 100 feet of number 3, as far as the easements and, everything requested in the comment for number 4. I've already expanded enough room to show that 100 feet beyond. So I figured might as well at least just show anything nearby in the viewport
Okay.
within.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not quite following. If you just want to, state what your waiver.
So number 4, it says that I'm required to show 400 within 400 feet for any sidewalks, driveways, streets, easements, and rights of way. Number 3 wants to show man-made features within 100 feet. My waiver request is a partial waiver to show the items of sidewalks, driveways, streets, easements, and rights of way, but within that 100-foot window, I expanded my viewport to referring to question number 3 or comment number 3. I feel like it is important to show in the near surrounding area of the property, but like you said, in something this simple, 400 feet is a little.
Yeah. So for number 4, you're requesting instead of 400 feet limit
To 100
limit it
feet.
to 100
Correct.
feet. And then number 3, you're requesting.
I've already revised and shown everything
so you
on
don't
number
need a
3,
waiver for number
except
3.
like I said, the 1 foot of building across the street.
Okay.
because
So-
it actually measured 99 feet to the building.
So everything
So,
except the
yeah,
one existing
yes.
building. I think, in my opinion, that's reasonable.
And that was it. Everything else.
Um, Before we vote, if potentially voting on these waivers, does anyone have any questions or comments about the project? I know there are some questions about the utility laterals. There's 3 sets of utility laterals, and then also there's, I believe, 3 driveway aprons. And
Correct.
if there's only going to be one homeowner here, it doesn't make sense to have 3 sets of laterals and 3 different
Yeah,
driveway
we're working with
aprons.
Jandal right now to get that rectified and have one water service and one sewer service.
Okay, so there will only be one driveway, the other 2 will be.
There will be 2 driveways.
Right.
One that's, a behind the scenes thing. 2 of the curb cuts are getting replaced to regular curb, and an additional curb cut is being added.
Okay.
If you could expand, what do you mean by behind the scenes? Like a secondary access
that's
point?
what has been talked about down the road for possible land development. But at this stage, that's not.
It's not a primary.
No, it's nothing. Nothing has been settled on or, officially designed yet. But we're worried about getting those 2 curb cuts replaced to normal curbing and getting the unnecessary utilities out of there. That's what the main.
Could potentially be like a U driveway because it's a pretty big lot.
Yes,
Looks like it's a
and
very
2
nice neighborhood
streets.
there.
Correct.
And for the planning commission's knowledge, at the time that the house and the is designed, the township will be receiving a plan of the lot and the house on it with grades, things like that.
Correct.
So at this point, we're consolidating the lots. There will be future work to be done that will be seen by the township. It's just they're not there yet.
So you think you can remove those laterals before they pave?
That's the plan. Yep. That's the rush on that.
Yeah, driving up there, it looks like they're very close to paving. So.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
If I could just note before the dialogue continues, because there's a requirement under SALDO that waiver requests be in writing, and apparently you've already prepared that request, my thought is let staff and the township engineer look at that while the dialogue is continuing, just to make sure that it's in order before it's potentially voted on.
Okay.
Again, that's just referring to comment number 4.
I think we're good. Yeah, there was a second waiver in terms of the number 3 where you'll show everything except
To 99 feet.
a building.
I mean, I
Can
can
you
add
just
it in
handwrite
there.
it,
It's
and do you
just going to
wanna-
look. I have enough room,
Okay.
but you're not going to know what it is. It's going to look really. It's not. I could submit a waiver after the
Okay,
meeting.
you can, if you can show it, then it's fine. That meets saldo. And,
It's yeah.
And then we don't have to come back.
Okay, that's fine.
okay.
It's going to be right along the border of the plan. You're going to see one little extra line that jumps out along the border of the plan. It fits. It fits, so.
One click in the mouse. and
Yeah.
you're done.
All right. Is there anyone in the audience that has any comments, questions regarding this application? No. Okay. All right, we have the copy of the waiver request. Solicitor
okay?
Zader, did you have any concerns about the?
I have no concerns. I think the waiver request is written in a way that's understandable and speaks for itself.
And we have no engineering objections as noted in our comment letter when we came across this.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion of 312-23B21, location of widths of all sidewalks, driveways, streets, easements, and rights-of-way within 400 feet of any part of the track.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Note, Mark Luth abstains.
Roll call, please, Greg.
Okay, just to be consistent. Okay, this is for the waiver request, correct? All right, Trevor Dombach,
Aye.
Tim Dugan,
Aye.
Todd Farringer,
Aye.
Brian Height,
Aye.
Diane Kelly,
Aye.
Mark Luth,
Abstain.
and David Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0 with one abstention.
And I will say, typically we like to receive the waiver request beforehand, but this is almost a drafting and almost a cosmetic requirement on the plans. If it was a more substantial waiver request, we may need more time and
Okay. Thank you.
beforehand. All right, so that was the waiver request. Are there any other comments or questions? Greg, do we need to make a vote on this? We do.
I would say if you're comfortable, yes. I do want to point out that condition number 1, I don't want to take it off yet, but if all of the work is complete in a timely manner, then that likely will not have to be required. So I'll update this before it gets to the board, but chances are that item number 1 may come off.
And just for everyone in the audience and for my sake, what page on the packet? 13. All right. Right. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve minor plan or recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of minor plan 2023-201.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Any additional questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Roll call.
Aye. Any opposed?
Do a roll call?
Roll call.
Yeah. All right, Trevor Dombach,
Aye.
Tim Dugan.
Aye.
Todd Farringer,
Aye.
Brian Height,
Aye.
Diane Kelly,
Aye.
Mark Luth,
Abstain.
and David Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0 with one abstention. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're on agenda item number 4B, 1708 Hillside Line Adjustment. Mr. Adams, would you like to do the staff presentation?
Yes, indeed. This is an application to adjust the lot line between 1708 Hillside Lane and 1742 Evangate Drive. The plan proposes to transfer 7,733 square feet of property from 1742 Evangate Drive to 1708 Hillside Lane, resulting in 1742 Evangate Drive containing 9,601 square feet and 1708 Hillside Lane containing 49,470 square feet. The parcel is served, well, actually both parcels are served by public water and sewer and are zoned medium density residential R4. Borko Milisev is the owner of 1708 Hillside Lane and the applicant. Michael and Cynthia Salustio are the owners of 1742 Evangate Drive. There is no prior consideration that I'm aware of. The department's recommendation is that the Planning Commission recommend preliminary and final plan approval to the Board of Commissioners, subject to the applicant complying with the following conditions. One, that the applicant address to the satisfaction of Township Engineer the comments of Mr. Anthony Talarita as contained in his review dated August 9th, 2023. The applicant shall provide to the Community Development Department written confirmation from the appropriate reviewing agency that all applicable comments have been addressed. Two, the applicant addressed to the satisfaction of Township Water and Sewer Engineer the comments of Mr. Jason Newhart as contained in his review dated August 10th, 2023. Three, that the applicant addressed to the satisfaction of Community Development Department the comments of Mr. Greg Adams as contained in his review dated August 10th, 2023. Four, the applicant addressed to the satisfaction of the Public Works Department the comments of Mr. Herb Bender as contained in his review dated August 10th, 2023. Five, the applicant obtains a review from the LVPC prior to the plan being presented to the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners. Six, that the applicant presents a letter to the township from the owner of 1730 Hillside Lane, recognizing the encroachment of the applicant's retaining wall upon his property prior to the plan being recorded. Seven, that the applicant reconciles all open invoices for township legal and engineering services prior to the plan being recorded. And eight, that the plans are to be revised and deemed to be clean prior to them being presented to the Board of Commissioners. The Planning Commission's soft deadline to act on the plan is September 18th, 2023. The Board of Commissioners' hard deadline to act on the plan is October 18th, 2023.
All right, the applicant may come to the podium. Please state your name. And
Okay. Good evening. My name's Greg Knoll, and I prepared the plan that's in front of you tonight. Mr. Adams did a great description, and basically we are in receipt of Mr. Talarito's letter. We plan on complying with all items in that letter. We have made all revisions so far. We did submit a waiver and deferral letter in regards to comments number 1. And basically we're seeking a waiver or a deferral on curb and sidewalk until such a time that they are constructed on neighboring properties. As you can see, the properties are both fully built out residentials. So I don't see curbing and sidewalk coming in anytime soon, but our client's certainly willing to install it if and when it does. Other than that, if there's any items in the comment letter that you would like to discuss, I can certainly try and answer your questions, and we're seeking conditional approval.
all right, does anyone have any questions or comments?
I have no questions.
All right, so this is a pretty well-established neighborhood. Looks like every lot has an existing home that's been there for an extended period. this is residents' lot, and it looks like they're adjusting a lot line to make their lot a little larger. Do you know the reason why they're making the lot a little larger?
I do not know that.
Okay. But they're not subdividing any new lots for future development. This is not proposing any new construction. It's simply moving a lot line for a single family dwelling. Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions? All right. So in terms of the waiver requests, typically my individual position, we as a township, we typically don't recommend waivers or deferrals for curbs and sidewalks. And typically the situations we encounter are land developments where a new building is being constructed and there's potential for new sidewalks to be built, or let's say a residential subdivision that is subdividing many lots for new homes to be constructed. This isn't one of those cases. This is an existing home, an existing neighborhood that's been fully built out for a very extended period. These homeowners have been established here without the sidewalks. In my opinion, it's a fully built out neighborhood that doesn't have curb and sidewalk. It doesn't make sense to put curb and sidewalk in front of this single house.
I do have a public comment
Okay.
online. Chad, if you'd like to unmute your microphone and let us know your name and address. I sent an unmute request.
Sorry about that. I was connected on the.
We can hear you now. Thank you. Maybe we can't. Chad, can you give your name and address?
Maybe they could text it. Is there a text?
It's Chad D. Felice. That's Mr. Millicev's attorney.
Okay.
Trying to get it.
Chad, just type your comment or questions in the chat box and I'll read it.
Okay.
Okay, so you said that Chad's the attorney?
Yes, yes.
Okay. There is no intent to build another home on this lot being transferred. The intent is to potentially build a pool for the 1708 residents in the future.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Does anyone have any additional comments? All right. So the one waiver request was for curb and sidewalk. The second waiver request was to show sidewalks, driveways, streets, easements, rights of way within 400 feet of the track, similar to the previous waiver request.
For the first waiver, I would support a deferral, just in case something happens way down the road, so. With that, I'll make a motion to approve that one as a deferral.
I'll second.
Any other comments?
Also, Saldo, section 312-35B, 3DI, or 1.
Roll call.
Trevor Dombach,
Aye.
Tim Dugan,
Aye.
Todd Farringer,
Aye.
Brian Height,
Aye.
Diane Kelly,
Aye.
Mark Luth,
Aye.
David Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. For waiver request number 2 for Saldo section 312, 23B19, does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Trevor Dombach,
Aye.
Tim Dugan,
Aye.
Todd Farringer,
Aye.
Brian Height,
Aye.
Diane Kelly,
Aye.
Mark Luth,
Aye.
David Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
And I'll ask one more time, are there any questions or comments for this plan? All right, doesn't seem like it. Do we want to?
I'll make a motion to approve minor plan 2023-202 for 1708 Hillside Lane.
I'll second.
Would you like to do roll call, Greg?
Yes. Trevor Dombach,
Aye.
Tim Dugan,
Aye.
Todd Farringer,
Aye.
Brian Height,
Aye.
Diane Kelly,
Aye.
Mark Luth,
Aye.
David Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, good luck.
Thank you very much.
We're on agenda item number 4, C, 1810 PA Route 309, proposed commercial development. I think we're good. All right, Mr. Adams, would you like to do the staff presentation?
Yes, indeed. This is an application to develop a property located at 1810 PA 1, oh, good Lord, 1810 PA Route 309. The plan proposes the demolition of the existing structure and the construction of a 6,606 square foot convenience store with gas pumps, which is a motor vehicle service facility, and a 74 space parking lot on the 4.056 acre parcel. The parcel is proposed to be served by Public Water and Sewer and is zoned Highway Commercial HC. Lanston Equities LLC is the owner and applicant. This has been before the Planning Commission before. It's also been to the Zoning Hearing Board. At their November 22nd, 2021 meeting, the Zoning Hearing Board heard the appeal, granted the special exception, and a number of variances. The Planning Commission last heard this plan at the October 21st, 2021 meeting, and I believe it was seen as a sketch plan before at the Planning Commission's September 17th, 2020 meeting. And this is a sketch plan only. So the department basically recommends the applicant utilize the comments of the reviewing agencies and those of the Planning Commission to assist in the preparation of the preliminary plan. And because this had been submitted as a preliminary final plan earlier, the deadlines still occur. I believe right now we have a waiver from the time limitation, which is dated to December 31st, 2023 for action on this plan.
Well, this is a sketch plan, right?
This is, but there was a prior preliminary plan submitted. So, hey,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Please.
Okay, there we go. Sorry.
it's a little bit more of a touch than some others. Yeah, so we originally had submitted the plan, and then some of you may recall there was a fairly sizable question as to the driveway location. During the course of that process, we stopped working on the preliminary final plan, came in with a sketch, and we then proceeded to the zoning board, got the special exception for the use and relief for the driveway. And knowing admittedly that if the driveway changed, which we were thinking it probably would, we would be having to go back to the zoning board because they did limit our relief to where we showed it the first time, and we have to go back for that anyway. That's fine. But what we've done now was we said, before we get charging further too far on the preliminary final plan again, let's bring the sketch back and show you where that driveway ended up based upon the comments. Work with PennDOT significantly, with the township, et cetera, and get some comments on that so that we don't end up, like last time, one step forward but two steps back instead of the opposite, right? So that's what brings us here, number one. And then otherwise, I think, and Jeff will talk about a few of the items in here, but for the most part, Jeff, if you want to just kind of talk about that driveway and how that has evolved and where it's ended up, because that was almost the 95% of our conversation each time we were here.
So good evening, Jeff Bevan with Bowler Engineering. So the site has two driveways currently shown on the sketch plan here. Right in, right out on 309. That's in generally the same location that it was before. I believe about 300 feet from the intersection with Chapman and 309. The intersection originally was shown roughly centered on the Chapman Road frontage. So just a little bit shifted towards Gramis Road, planned south. About 240 feet or so from the intersection and just over 100 feet from Gramis Road. Given the geometry in there and the turn lane configurations in that, the feedback we received from township staff was to shift it around onto Gramis Road, being an existing intersection there, not adding another curb cut to Chapman Road. So what we've done is shifted it onto the Gramis Road frontage as far away from the intersection as the property frontage would allow. So right now we have just a fraction of a foot under 150 feet from the center line of Chapman Road to the center line of the driveway. We have a small radius on the left side of the driveway if you're looking at the plan, because we don't expect much traffic to be making a right out there. And so that allowed us to shift that even a little bit further away, but it is as far away from that intersection as possible. And then with that, we've made a number of other changes to the property. We've shown sidewalk along most of the site frontages. So we have sidewalk along 309 from the right in, right out driveway, where that comes into the property. That extends, it would be east along 309, along the Chapman Road frontage, and then along the Gramis Road frontage as well. We did not extend it to the left along 309 for two reasons. One, we start to get into wetland areas immediately adjacent to the roadway. And two, there are no additional sidewalk facilities to the left side of that plan to connect into. And so that's why we have it shown to the driveway and then into our property.
Thank you. And just to be clear, the driveway relocation onto Gramis Road, is that PennDOT and the township that provided input and that's why it moved?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And then you're aware, this is a special exception. The special exception, I believe, expired, so you'll have to.
Yeah, actually, I don't think the zoning officer was aware. It's still on appeal, actually. It's not final yet because it's still on appeal.
Okay.
Thanks to my friend in the back of the room.
Okay.
But yeah. So that's the only thing I was going to point out. I know they expire when you're leaving, but we don't really have a final decision yet.
Okay.
Because we don't, and it just, I think you're aware, it got remanded today. Yeah, so it's going to keep going. But like I said, we're going back to the zoning board anyway. But to me, the use is still alive unless Mr. Gaspar wins his appeal. And then we both know that the decision last time was limited. The zoning board limited it to the exact driveway location. So we do have to go back for that change of the variance. We've known that all along.
So there's a lot of legalities that have to get worked through before this moves forward as a land development. A lot of zoning. Okay.
It just seemed though that this was probably the right time to get the sketch back in, just to see the product of your staff, PennDOT, and our engineers' work after. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah, we do appreciate providing an update, and this also for the township to know where the project stands.
In terms of the sketch, it's very nice. I think that actually that access works a little nicer. The rear access.
And then there's probably there's probably a few comments though that we would want to talk about while we have you, just so we can finalize this, because a few on parking in the driveways, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Oh, sure.
With regard to the base map, is this reflect the 309 betterment improvements, or is this a base map from before or the current condition? Or is it the betterment project base map?
So I believe this reflects the current condition. We are showing improvements at the intersection that align with the betterment plan. Where it would impact the site frontage, and then with the ultimate right of ways that we're required to provide, I think all of the proposed improvements would fall within those. So we had several comments in the August 10th, 2023 letter from Keystone. A few to note and a few to get some clarification on. So under zoning comment number 2 regarding the driveway separation, I think we discussed that. Zoning comment number 6 requires the parking count to be 75 rather than 74. We intend to comply with that. And in fact, it was noted that the parking spaces at the pumps would count towards that total. They're not currently included in that. So we will be in a surplus when we make that update. And then number 7 about the parallel or the parking spaces being 18.5 versus 18 feet long, we'll comply with that as well. Comment number 17 relates to pedestrian circulation. As I had noted, we are not providing sidewalk along the entirety of the 309 frontage, given the constraints along there. I believe that what we have shown provides connectivity from the intersection, from the adjacent land uses and into the property. In addition, when we had the preliminary final plan in previously, we were coordinating with Lanta on access or potential bus stop location, and that was going to be along the 309 frontage in an area that we do have sidewalk shown. So we don't feel that there's much benefit, and in fact, probably more of an environmental impact by providing it further to the left on that site.
There are some walkability items we'd like to see. I believe some crosswalks across Chapman's. Right now, I don't believe there is one. And then also across Gramis Road with a curb ramp there, because as you go further down, we have the warehouse facility there that has sidewalk, and this empty lot in due time, someone may develop it. So we do want that full sidewalk connection. Additionally, along Gramis, we would like to see a sidewalk connection from the public sidewalk into the Wawa facility. Right now, they would have to walk on the grass or through the driveway.
Understood. I think it's our intention to comply with that, to provide a connection into the site from Gramis Road, and then to look at the crosswalk across Gramis. I don't believe that we had one proposed across Chapman,
Okay,
just from the standpoint that there are no receiving facilities.
okay.
And so we would provide connectivity on our side of the site, and then I believe at the intersection of 309 and Chapman as well.
So that's part of the 309 Betterment Project. They have crosswalks on at that intersection. And then the Atlantis stop, I believe, has also been designated as part of that. So coordinating your plans with that will be very important.
I think one recommendation, one additional recommendation, like Mr. Manhart said, is get that 309 Betterment Project improvements and take a look and make sure you base your design taking into account those improvements that are coming.
Understood. The next one that we had to discuss was comment number 21. This notes that driveways shall not exceed 40 feet in width at the right-of-way line. That will likely be a waiver request, and this is for the right-in, right-out driveway up at 309 to comply with the PennDOT geometric requirements. So each lane is less than 40 feet, but in total, because of that concrete median island, it would exceed 40. And then comment number 36 is a recommendation to consider relocating or removing 4 parking spaces. This is right where the right-in, right-out driveway comes into the site. Certainly something that we will take a look at. And given the surplus of parking that we have under the canopy, we can likely look at removing up to 4 of those spaces.
And still meet the minimum.
And still meet the minimum parking requirement, correct. I think those were all all the questions that we had or wanted to discuss. If there are any other questions.
And I think most of all the comments in the other letters were fine, except for that one explanation that unfortunately we're still on appeal on the zoning decision.
Thanks for the update and the presentation. Anyone in the audience or here have any final questions? Doesn't look like it, so I'd just like to reiterate, this is a sketch plan, so we don't make any votes. All right, thanks.
Hey, thanks. Good seeing you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We are on agenda item number 5. The transportation infrastructure update.
The hot seat. Make sure you push the button, speak clearly.
Yes, Joe. 3 minutes.
In case we have any trouble.
We might have to question our township engineer.
Next presenter gets out of order.
Thank you, Jason.
Hey,
Thank you.
hey man, the birds are on, so let's keep this quick, all right?
It's preseason.
Actually, the report that I gave over email last month, I think was the best thing that we could talk about right now that's going on. The long-range transportation plan. So South Whitehall, if you look through that, has a lot of items on there. It's good to see. A lot of them. I mean, the short term, I think we all know about it. The betterment, the interchange, Mon-Chunk Road signal, and the Greenway, which is on the short term. Those are all been talked about it. But as you get into the mid-range, I think a few to note, especially the money allocated for 309 and Ridgeview Drive intersection. It's research and development, or planning and research, excuse me. So great to see, mid-range, 5 to 10 years, 5 to 12 years probably in there, but at least it's there. Getting things on this list is the first step. Now in 2 years, it's time to start reshuffling the cards and trying to push them up, but at least we're on there. There's a lot of other good projects on there. The culvert under That goes towards Hotel Hamilton's on there still. That would be great to get bumped up as they're nearing the end of their project. But just take a look through there. If there's any questions, we can talk about it. But it's good to see a lot of projects and potentially a lot of funding coming our way.
Great. Good. Move on to agenda item number 6.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Is there anyone online that would speak?
I can just reiterate that next month we're looking at St. Paul's Orthodox Church as a sketch plan at the old Kuss Brothers nursery site. We are anticipating Ridge Farm final plan phase 1B to be back and show up, and potentially 1429 Eck Road outdoor storage as well.
All right. Agenda item number 7, adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right.